All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. I think we're good. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Nazrin. Thank you for joining us for the Reblaze Lunch on Us with MNJ Technologies. We are joined today with the Reblaze team. We have Troy Cheetah and we have Dima Nazarenko, Director of Solutions Engineering, and Troy, Director of Channel Sales and Strategic Alliances. They'll be talking to us today about the cloud-based web application, the ins and outs of the solution. Troy, Dima, thank you for joining us. Passing the ball to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Nazrin, and thanks to the MNJ team for hosting today's webinar. We at Reblaze, we're very excited to be partnered with MNJ Technologies. Again, in regards to introductions, my name's Troy Cheetah. I work on the sales side, and Dima is one of our senior solutions engineers who will assist on the technical side. We're somewhat limited in regards to time, so what I'd like to cover today is really speak to the current threat landscape, the future of threats, target verticals, and of course, what impact COVID has had on cybersecurity. As a little bit of housekeeping, any questions or comments, please add them to the chat box. Let's talk some about the threats out there. I'm sure that everyone's familiar with the direct threats such as code injection, DDoS attacks, and bot activities. But what about lack of control and visibility? Now, this is absolutely critical. How are you able to protect against something that you're not able to see? Also, performance. Web assets can be secured, but if the site or application is slow and cumbersome, users will just leave. So that's why you need to have a combination of best security and performance. Obviously, there are some serious threats out there, and with a lack of proper security, your sites and applications are vulnerable to attack. These consequences include data theft, which we have seen come from both hackers and competitors. Think of the damage if one of your competitors is able to get their hands on some of your organization's private data, which can include anything from, say, a price list to customer details. Imagine knowing, like, when every one of your competitors' clients, when their contract expires, or even how much they paid. Obviously, this is very, very valuable information. Another result is going to be site downtime. If your site or application is under some form of attack and your clients are not able to access the application, what do you think they're going to do? From merchant account problems to poor user experience, the customers are going to move to one of your competitors. So what do we see in the upcoming years? One thing we do know for certain is the threats show no sign of slowing down, and new threats are emerging on a daily basis. The threats, they are becoming more complex and more sophisticated. The bad actors have access to almost unlimited computing power and tools. Now, in parallel, apps are everywhere, allowing users to do almost anything in real time, from trading stocks to financial transactions, all the way to finding personal medical results, which we see will continue to increase. As we all know, in today's world, first to market wins. Sadly, it's business first, and then security follows. Now, bots, they are evolving quickly and will continue to get more and more sophisticated. Literally, they are moving towards mimicking human behavior. Let's face it, these guys, they are extremely intelligent, and it has been and will continue to be a game of cat and mouse. So, which verticals are most susceptible to cyber attacks? Quite frankly, I think the answer has changed since the inception of COVID. In the past, it was the usual suspects: e-com, finance, technology, and so on. Now we've moved to a world of curbside pickup where literally every business sector out there is a target. 6 months ago, you go to the sandwich shop, order something from Panera Bread. Site's down, you'd walk into the store, really wouldn't think twice about it. Now, in today's environment, that site or application is down. Not only is it lost revenue, but it's truly on the front page of the media. So number one, think of the impact when the majority of your revenue is coming from online purchase. And this really is going to hold true across all verticals today and in the future. So here are some common threats the e-commerce industry faces, from credit card fraud to phishing attacks to DDoS attacks. Now, phishing attacks, literally one of the oldest and most common forms of attacks, where the agents are trying to steal sensitive information, from login details to credit card data. As a matter of fact, last year, over 65% of organizations reported experiencing some form of a phishing attack. Now, I did notice that we have a fair amount of people on today's call who are working either in healthcare and EDU. So first off, thank you very much for what you guys are doing. But let's talk a little bit about healthcare. As if you guys don't have enough on your plates right now, healthcare is an absolutely huge target. Simply put, the information is worth money. And with the nature of the business, opens up additional vulnerabilities with increased BYOD and working remotely, along with the fact that this sensitive data needs to be accessed by multiple professionals. It truly increases the threat. As a matter of fact, the healthcare has seen a nearly 200% increase in attacks this year. Now, of course, the EDU verticals has become more susceptible now than ever, and quite frankly, we really don't know exactly what's going to happen. With login pages, application pages, student data, employee data, alumni data, research, and the list goes on and on. What I'm understanding right now is, like, the majority of schools, they're going to open up virtually or some sort of a hybrid start. I know in my area, we're scheduled for the first 3 weeks of virtual, and then we'll see what happens from there. So, think about it, thousands, if not tens of thousands of kids trying to access your network and applications. I'd say I'm sure nothing can go wrong there. As a matter of fact, one of the districts right next to me, they were supposed to open up last week, and literally hours before opening, they ended up having to postpone because they discovered a security gap. So I think this is something that we're really going to be reading about more and more in the very near future. So here's just a few examples of these household names of the cyber attacks that we've been seeing lately. Obviously, DoorDash. This is something that all of us have used today. And just a few weeks ago, UC San Francisco admitted to paying a ransom to recover stolen data. Kind of brings back where I remember working with a consultant who was with a very well-known retailer whose site had been taken over. And obviously the CEO was enraged and said, hey, what should we do about this? And the consultant simply said, you pay them. So, now think about, like, how many companies out there do the just pay them in order to stay out of the press? And finally, we've all heard about the Capital One breach. I bring this example up just because of the sheer magnitude of the numbers, where it was over 100 million credit card applications that had been compromised. So obviously, the list goes on and on as far as organizations that have been hacked. But the one common trait is that they all could have been prevented. So what impact has COVID had in cybersecurity? Obviously, it's had an impact on pretty much every other portion of our life. But, you know, quite frankly, we've really changed the way that we're living. We've changed the way that we're working. We've changed the way that we're learning. We are spending more time than ever online. If it's the students, if it's employees, and yes, the criminals are spending more time online as well. When this initially happened, we were in a mad rush to get everyone the proper tools for the employees to complete their job function from home. Now we're really faced with the reality that this is not going away, and so we have to pivot the way of working and doing business, or we're just going to get left behind. Our companies need to be more nimble and have an increased online presence. Attacks have increased astronomically across all verticals in the last few months, and really they're not showing any signs of slowing down. So now, more than ever, we really need to have the proper security controls in place. So what we have in the marketplace today is, quite frankly, kind of a mess. The legacy solutions are not built for the cloud and the evolving threats. Enterprise finds themselves working with multiple vendors for their security needs. Like, you're going with one vendor for bot management, another vendor for DDoS protection, and yet another vendor for, say, web application firewall. Enterprises have to integrate multiple solutions in order to provide that full stack, which comes with its own set of problems, from compatibility issues, appliance versus cloud, shared environments, and so on. All of which leads to performance issues, including latency and a degraded experience. And we know what our customers are going to do when they have a bad experience. So who is Reblaze? Reblaze is a cloud-based, fully managed security platform, securing websites and web applications. We are deployed in a customer-dedicated virtual private cloud environment, ensuring maximum privacy, performance, and protection. We've been around for about 8 years and headquartered out of Tel Aviv, Israel, with offices throughout the world. So we're protecting tens of thousands of sites and applications while processing billions of web requests on a daily basis. I believe right now we're in the neighborhood of about 10 billion. So you may think, okay, well, why is this important? It just simply shows the visibility that we have as an organization to the new threats each and every day that we're able to protect our customers from. So a little bit more about Reblaze. We offer a purpose-built, all-inclusive security platform that includes API security, DDoS protection, layers 3, 4, and 7, account takeover protection, bot management and mitigation, and a next-generation web application firewall. All of this with real-time visibility and control of your traffic. So moving on, here's a snapshot of some of our customers that we're currently servicing. I say a snapshot due to the fact that we are a security company, and not all clients want their logos to be displayed. As you can see from the list, we are literally protecting clients in all verticals, from airlines to banks to hospitals, insurance, of course, e-com and gaming. We've also acquired all of the proper certifications and are fully compliant with all the latest laws and regulations. We are also partnered with and can be deployed on all of the major cloud providers or in a hybrid fashion with a single management console.
Troy, there's a question in the chat.
Perfect.
There's a question about how you play in the education vertical.
So it's kind of a loaded question. We play very, very well, and we have seen a huge increase as of late. So I hate to leave it at such an open question, but I think the problem is really coming more to surface now than it has ever before. We're really, I hate to say forcing, but we are kind of forcing the kids to be online and to be using these tools. So I would say we do very well in the EDU market. So here, what I'd like to do is turn the floor over to Dima to speak a little bit as far as the setup of the Reblaze service and how it makes us different from some of the other vendors out there.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everyone. So this diagram on the left-hand side is going to demonstrate very usual setup that we have with our customers. In general, as you can see on the top, where it shows the mobile devices and the desktop, it means the end user. Then usually majority of the customers will have a CDN of their choice. We can help with the CDN provider as well. We have some partnerships with different CDN providers, but it's not a must. A lot of companies do use CDNs for caching of static content, maybe dynamic acceleration, and etc. So as majority of you are aware, CDN acts as a reverse proxy, and in the same logic, Reblaze is going to act as well. So regardless if there is a CDN in a play or not, when the request comes to us from the end user of the CDN, we're going to inspect every single request. After the inspection is completed, as you can see, the load balancer and the Reblaze proxy is one setup. So we deploy configuration and architecture with the load balance setup that allows us to scale up and down, depends on the traffic. Maybe there is a higher attack, so we can scale it up for the attack to handle the attack and not bring the web property, web app, website down. After the inspection has been completed of that specific request, if we detected any malicious traffic or any bot that is not supposed to go through, we're going to block it. If everything looks fine on the request, we will send it to the origin. This is the bottom one, the protected sites and apps. And we will get a response back and forward it back to the end user. Now, as you can see, there is also a lot of data is going to our machine learning mechanism. So what we do, every request that we get is going to be analyzed by our intelligent system architecture to identify if it's a new threat or existing threat or something we have never seen before. So we can analyze it, and if we detect that it's a new threat, it should be blocked or challenged or anything that is not a valid request, we can implement new rules on the fly. One of the main advantages that Reblaze has versus other providers is going to be the single tenant environment. And what it means, sometimes it's a confusion from our customers. Is like, how do you guys provide a SaaS, software as a service solution, versus single tenant? So as Troy mentioned earlier, we have partnership with all the major cloud providers, GCP, AWS, Azure, DigitalOcean, and we're working on some additional ones as well. We deploy our architecture inside one of the cloud providers. If somebody is using AWS, we're going to deploy in the same regions and even the same availability zones. So the single tenant environment means that we will deploy the architecture that is designed only for your traffic and no other customer. Troy, would you mind muting yourself? So we will deploy the single tenant environment, all the service only for you. So it means no other customer is going to be using the same instances for your traffic. It is very common for other companies to share the same servers, same architecture for multiple customers. And the disadvantage in that scenario is that if customer A is getting attacked, you as a customer on the same platform can experience some slowness on the responses or even a full downtime of your web application. Active protection and profiling means that we have a couple options. We can set it in the report mode. It means our system will inspect the traffic, but not gonna block any traffic. It's just gonna report it. So it's good for us to see and learn the traffic profile. As we all know, there are no two single applications that are built with the same logic and the same design on the back end. So it's always good to run the traffic for a couple of days to see what type of traffic there is and how we can optimize to make sure we reduce the false positive. The machine intelligence, we have discussed that. The automatic updates. Now, with a single tenant environment, one of the concerns I usually hear from customers is that, so if we have our own architecture, how can we be protected by a new attack? Because we have the access to all the logs and we analyze everything on our machine learning, we're actually able to deploy new signatures and new rules to your environment as well, even if if your application has never seen that type of an attack. Let's say, for example, there was a new SQL injection that we detected on customer A. You as a customer of Reblaze can be protected by the same, can be protected from the same attack just because we collect the data and we can push a new configuration to your account. Excuse me. Multi-region, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud. So a lot of companies are moving to the cloud, to hybrid solution, or even utilizing multiple cloud providers at the same time for various reasons. It can be for load balancing, for disaster recovery, and etc. Since we can deploy our solution in every major cloud provider, we can also support that functionality as well. So by default, it's going to be deployed in a single region, but we have ability to support multi-regions, multi-clouds, and even if somebody still has an architecture, their own data center or some hosting provider, we can protect that as well. Another great benefit of Reblaze is the absolute visibility, and it means that we provide all the logs in the UI, and they can be also exported to your solution of choice via syslog. Any request that goes via our network is going to be visible to you with all the aspects of the request. And what I mean by that is the HTTP headers, any variables, any cookies, anything is going to be seen. I actually was surprised to see a lot of our customers then when they got all the logs and they were like amazed to see how much information they had never seen before. So by the fact that we provide so much visibility and access to the traffic profile, our customers were able to implement different rules. For example, one of the great examples is going to be that our customers some of them implemented different packages for the API calls. For example, they could use rate limit to limit how many requests can come to the same URL from the same user, and etc. So it helped them to increase their revenue by not by only protecting their web apps with Reblaze, but by the fact that we provide so much visibility. And I think one last comment that I would like to make about the architecture deployment is going to be that we have two main deployment options. One of them is going to be the SaaS. So we deploy everything for you, the load balancer, the scalability, and etc. And then we're going to act as a reverse proxy to your origins. Another option, if you're already hosted in one of the cloud providers, we can deploy inside your VPC. So we're not going to deploy a custom VPC, but we can deploy inside your VPC. And the benefits of that, it means that the traffic will never leave your VPC. Everything is going to stay inside the VPC. I believe that's it.
Okay, thanks, Steve. That's great information. Now, you've been on the front line since the inception of COVID. So I wanted to ask you, like, what changes have you seen, both with new clients and our existing customer base?
So there are several changes, as you mentioned before as well with COVID. A lot of companies are forced to move to online support. And two good examples to the first question that Patrick asked was about education. Education is one of the fast-growing industries right now, with unfortunately due to the COVID, not due to any other reason. And the education, some facilities were able to move to online education before COVID, but some of them were forced to do it right now. So due to the lack of knowledge and understanding and having the right team in place, sometimes it's hard to protect the information. Another good example is going to be telemedicine. Telemedicine is blowing right now. A lot of companies are moving towards the telemedicine. As I have used it in the past, it's a pretty cool idea in my opinion. You can talk to the doctor over like voice call, video call, and a voice call. They can see, you can explain the symptoms and they're going to explain to you. Now, there are a lot of regulations that comes around it with the HIPAA compliances and the protection of your personal information, not only personal, but also health information. So some companies are not sure what to do, how to protect their information. And those two industries are very fast growing right now during the COVID time.
Yeah, it's crazy times that we live in right now.
Hey guys, there is one more question in the chat. We have a comment/question. I strongly believe that a diverse security strategy is key to protection. With that said, would your offering interrupt or complement companies using a SOC as a service company or any other in-house security tool?
Yeah, of course. And that's a very good question, I have to say. So we have our SOC as well. So our SOC is available 24/7, where we monitor your traffic, your everything has to do with your architecture. And also you can integrate our solution to your own SIEM using like webhooks or using the syslog to deliver the logs to you. So it's the long story, long answer short, is going to be it's a complementary solution to your current solution that you have. I hope it answers the question.
Okay, great. Thanks, Deema. I appreciate it. So I'd like to finish off with a case study from eBay. Of course, eBay is a prominent target for all types of different attacks. And the story goes they were planning on moving to the cloud, but wanted to ensure that they could still effectively secure their environments. So they began testing a combination, just like we were speaking, of GCP's Cloud Armor product, as well as Reblaze for DDoS protection. The multi-layer solution was exactly what eBay was looking for. The Google Cloud Armor was able to block layers 3 and 4, and the Reblaze service was able to defeat layer 7 attacks. On top of that, eBay was able to gain much needed visibility through their dashboard. It's kind of a funny story. With their newfound visibility, they had discovered that they were suffering from bot activities that came mainly from their competitors. So in summary, Reblaze offers a complete unified security platform. We're running in your public cloud environment or in a dedicated VPC. At all times, you'll have complete visibility and control of your traffic, all in a single tenant environment with nearly zero latency. So do we have any further questions?
Nothing currently in the chat.
Okay.
Everyone feel free to add any questions, comments. We've got a couple minutes here.
It looks like, yeah, we are coming up. But I do want to bring up, if any other questions do come up, obviously feel free to reach out to myself or to your MNJ account manager, and also to discuss a free assessment of your security platform. So like I said, any questions come up, if you'd like to further explore the service, get a free assessment of your security profile, please reach out to myself or to your MNJ account manager.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Deema, for your time today, and thank you for our attendees for taking the time to join the Reblaze webinar.
Thank you very much.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.
You as well.
Thank you.